what a wonderful, wonderful story you have. Solely owned, Black owned, solely woman owned tequila company.
Because it is very intense. It's very intense. It was telling me something wasn't right. And when I went to go open the door, I had a grand mal seizure. So when I had my seizure in my car accident, their first question was, when are you coming back to work? And it was at that moment, Brandi, like when I say I gave my whole life to the federal government and was proud of it, I said, what am I going to do with the rest of my life and the best of my life? Because this isn't it.
Yeah. Welcome to Vaught Empowers Talks, where we don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential change makers. I'm your host, Brandi Harvey. Y'all, we've talked about bourbon on the show, but tequila has got his voice today. Tiffany Capri Hainesworth is the unstoppable force behind T Capri Tequila and the first Black woman to solely own a tequila brand. After surviving a traumatic brain injury from a devastating car accident, Tiffany transformed pain into passion, first launching T Capri Gourmet Treats, where she perfected her signature boozy gummy bears. Now, T Capri Tequila is redefining what excellence tastes like and proving that vision, resilience, and relentless belief can rewrite history. Tiffany has been featured in Forbes magazine, Glamour, The Today Show, and BET, just to name a few. Tiffany believes anything is possible. Vaught Empowers Talks welcome founder and CEO Tiffany Capri Hainesworth to the show.
Thank you.
How are
Thank
you?
So much. I am amazing.
Yeah.
I am amazing.
Oh, it's so great to have you. You look beautiful.
Thank
What is this,
you.
chartreuse? What is this color?
You know, it looks like chartreuse, doesn't it? Yes. This is one of my favorite designers.
Yeah.
Sergio Hudson, love him dearly.
Come on, Black designer.
Yes,
Listen,
yes.
I mean, what a wonderful, wonderful story you have. Solely owned, Black owned, solely woman owned tequila company. I mean, I didn't even think that we're in 2025.
Right.
And you were the first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it was strange to me too. But when you get into it, when I got into it and I started learning more about it, I understood why people have co-owners and co-founders and they come into spirit industry with 3 and 4 or 5 partners, because it is very intense. It's very intense.
I mean, talk about intense. 12, 12, 12. I mean, when I read this, I had to write it down. And then I went to like, well, give me the power. What's this? You know, I like the little numerology. I know it's going to be some of the Christian folks that are like, oh, Lord, they got their cloth out right now on me right now. I already know. But there's something very powerful about 12, 12, 12 because it's not only a life-transforming date, but your life changed forever on that date.
Yeah, it did. I was on my way to work. My federal government job.
Your good government job.
My good government job, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. I'm going to still say my good government job.
Yeah.
And I had to be at work at 6:30 in the morning, so I left out really early. And I always stopped at Starbucks to get espresso because I needed that to get my life started.
Yeah.
I was on my way into the Starbucks, and I was hit from behind. And the car hit me so forcefully from behind, my car spun. And then when it spun, he hit me again. And when he hit me again from the passenger side, I hit my head on a driver's side window. And I had a severe concussion. So I was like, okay, you know, my bumper was off, my car door was tore up. And I was just delirious. And so the doctor was like, okay, you have a severe concussion. Don't go to sleep. If you throw up or whatever, come back to the hospital, because they released me that day. And he just gave me some information about concussions, like NFL players have concussions and everything. Yeah. So as the days went on, my body just changed, and I was just different. I started getting severe migraines. So this is 12, 12, 12. So by 12, 15 and 12, 18, I was stuttering. I had a severe stutter.
Wow.
I couldn't remember anything, like the Cracker Barrel right up the street from my house. I knew I wanted it, but I couldn't remember the name. And on 12/21 or 22, my cousins were coming over for, Christmas Eve brunch or something, and I was supposed to go to the store to pick up something. I said, I'm really not feeling well, so you drive.
Yeah.
Like everything in my body was telling me something wasn't right. And when I went to go open the door, I had a grand mal seizure. So I had a grand mal seizure, fell into the door, fell on the floor, blacked my eyes, scraped my face up, got to the hospital, and the neurologist was like, so you had a concussion, you had traumatic brain injury. And what that meant was your brain, while you were stuttering and forgetting and you couldn't remember things, your brain was like having a thunderstorm. It was having a thunderstorm, and this is what traumatic brain injury does. It takes a while to happen. And when you were having that thunderstorm, then you had a grand mal seizure. It came out.
Wow. I mean, this was going on for 4 years, right?
Yep. So after I had the grand mal seizure, it's still going on now.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have grand mal seizures anymore, but I have petite mal seizures, focal seizures. I have extensive migraine headaches, and the seizures exude themselves in other ways now because I'm still under a tremendous amount of stress. So traumatic brain injury is a lifelong injury. The brain is the longest muscle to heal in your body, which my neurologist told me when he tried to say, oh, well, you're going to have you have epilepsy. And I was like,
Ooh.
no. I said, no, let's hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I said, you said that, the brain is the longest muscle to heal.
Yeah, it's too much soft tissue.
Yeah, so let's just see how this heals. But I've been on my own since I was 17 years old. I'm a mom. I'm a single mom. Been in the federal government. I had just got my home built in 2010. And I'm like, I have to take care of my daughter. I have to take care of my home. I just have to keep going. That's my mentality. It's like survival mode. This is what we do, and this is what we do as Black women.
Yeah.
It's like we got to keep it moving. Okay, you said this, but I got to take care of my baby. I got bills to pay. I got things to do. I had nobody to fall back on. So I was in and out of the hospital for 4 years, having EEGs done. That's when they, hook up the things to your head, and they monitor your brain waves and see when you're having seizures and see what makes you have seizures. And it's not always something. You just have them. So I'm in and out of the hospital with the grand mals that I knew I was having. Like I'm, falling out and, having the seizures that everybody sees on TV that knows of. But what people don't understand is like they're petite mals. Like I could be sitting and staring at you and blank out, and I had a seizure.
Wow.
So I had to educate my family and friends about everything that seizures entail. And these are things that I didn't even know, that I was having seizures sometime, that I was still having seizures. So they put me on a lot of medication. The medication did not make me feel the same way. It's like I hated the medicine. It's like I understood, like I'm a Law and Order fanatic. So, when you watch Law and Order and you see people with schizophrenia and they're like, I can't take the medicine because I don't like the way it makes me feel. I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. I mean, but this season, you said it taught you so much because you had really given your entire life to this good government job.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been there for over 30 years at this point now because you still work for the government.
Yes.
Yes.
So when I had my seizure in my car accident, their first question was, when are you coming back to work?
Wow.
I was like, I just had traumatic brain injury and grand mal seizures. I'm seeing a neurologist.
They're like, oh, no, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
right?
no. So when are you going to come back and do this work? Because your work is piling up. And it was at that moment, Brandi, like when I say I gave my whole life to the federal government and was proud of it, I said, what am I going to do with the rest of my life and the best of my life? Because this isn't it.
Yeah. What am I going to do with the rest of my life and the best of my life?
Yeah.
I mean, so you get into this entrepreneurial journey.
And never wanted to be an entrepreneur in my life, ever.
Most of the people who have sat in the seat who work for the government said the same thing. Like, I never had an entrepreneurial bone in my body. Like, didn't want that.
Never.
Yeah. But you're like, you start off with these gourmet treats and you start infusing alcohol into these baked goods.
Yeah.
But there's one that really took off, and that was the boozy berries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was known for having girls' night. And I was always known for the boozy
Me
treats.
too, and I ain't never had no boozy gummy bears at my girls' night.
And
Now
I
I see
didn't make
what
them no more.
I gotta think about this. I'm doing girls' night wrong. I need some gummy bears.
That was
Yeah.
my thing, was to infuse cocktail cakes or bread puddings, because my daughter's grandmother actually taught me how to make bread pudding, and I make the best bread pudding. So I was making like Brandi peach bread puddings.
I
And,
saw it with the crown, baby. You had the crown roll.
Oh,
You had
yeah.
all of
I
them.
did
It looked
all
real
the things.
good
They
though.
were good.
It
They
looked
were
good.
good.
Yeah.
And then one day I saw there was like a rosé all day bear, and it was like a 20,000 person wait list for this bear. I had just got out the hospital actually, and I was from having a seizure, and I was just scrolling. It was like 2:00 in the morning. It was like, oh yeah, it's like a 20,000 person wait list for this, and I go to read, and it was like non-alcoholic, and I was like, well, why do these people want it?
Why they
if
got
it's
they in line for
non-alcoholic?
some we can up the ante.
Flavored.
Yeah.
So I just started researching how to make gummy bears, and I just started ordering all the material, all the products, and all the molds and everything. And I started with rosé, Pinot Grigio, and Merlot.
Ooh.
And it took me 6 months to perfect this whiny bear. I called them whiny bears. And they literally, and they were, no additives, no preservatives, so you had to keep them in the refrigerator, but they taste just like wine, and they skyrocketed. So then all the women were loving them, and so their husbands and boyfriends was like, oh, Tiff, you need to work on a bourbon bear or a Hennessy bear. And I'm like, well, that's like 40% alcohol by volume. I don't know how that's going to hold.
Not a Hennessy bear.
Right. I'm like, wine doesn't have that much alcohol by volume, so it was almost like chemistry.
Yeah.
I was getting into chemistry with it. And another 3 or 4 months later, I perfected the boozy bear, and I perfected the Hennessy bear, and it was just like everybody just lost it. I was like on Good Morning Washington at home, and all the local Washington stations, and doing all my bears and my cakes and everything, and it took off. And so recycling comes every other Sunday, and so my daughter looks at me one day and she was like, "Ma, the recycling guys are going to think something. We got a problem going on in this house because there's a lot of liquor bottles in here."
Yeah.
And it was at that moment that I said, I'm using so many other people's liquor. I want to use my own in my gourmet treats business. That was it.
You like, I just want to get a couple bottles so I can have
That
my
was
own
it,
stuff.
Brandi. I just wanted a couple bottles.
Yeah.
I did not want to. In my mind, it wasn't starting a brand. I needed a couple bottles so I could say, I'm using my own liquor in these gourmet treats that I'm selling that everybody took off. So I love tequila. I've always been a tequila girl. So I researched where tequila was made. I found that it was only made in the highlands and the lowlands of Jalisco, Mexico. And let me just say this. I suffer from traumatic brain injuries.
She said, "Give me some grace.
Give me some grace.
Because I be doing shit I don't have no business doing."
I do a lot of stuff that I don't have no business doing. So when I told my sister and my best friend, I said, listen, I'm getting ready to book a flight to Guadalajara. They said, you getting ready to do what now?
So give me this time frame, because you're working at this like speed. You're like, you know what? I got to strike while the iron is
Yep.
hot. I got to go while I'm still thinking about it.
Yep.
So what is this time frame?
So I launched Tea Capri Gourmet Treats in 2016. By 2018 was my first trip to Guadalajara.
Yeah.
End of 2017, beginning of 2018 was my first trip I went to Puerto Vallarta the first time to meet like a tequila broker. So he basically just told me about some distilleries and everything. And I said, okay. I know the profile that I want, but I need to go there to see. So I started the government when I was 15, right? So I'm used to learning how to start from the bottom and work my way up to the top and understanding the process. So to me, I needed to understand the process. Regardless of where this went, I needed to understand this process. So he was like, okay, well, going over to Jalisco is not like this. It's not beach town. It's not resort town. Like, we're talking about mountains and roads and a lot of stuff that's going on over there. Yeah. So I was like, okay, listen, I don't care. I want to do it. So took my first trip over there by myself and actually fell in love with Guadalajara and Jalisco. It was, I think these are aloe plants. Or are they?
Yeah, they're
agave?
like fake agave plants.
Okay, so I was like, they might be aloe or agave.
Yeah.
So when I went over there and I fell in love with it. It was one of the most beautiful countries I had ever been to, because when people think of agave plants, they think of this part. But when you get into the field with the humidors, you see like 100 to 200 pound piña under the ground, under the earth. So when they unearth this piña, which makes tequila, and the humidor has the koa, that's the name of the tool they're using, and they're literally just carving it. It's a work of art, and it was majestic to me. It was just so majestic, and I wanted all the parts of this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, here's what I love that you said. You were never afraid to work your way from the bottom to the top. And I think there's so many people on the road to success, they want to start off at the top. They don't want to trust the process. And you're like, if I'm going to do this, I want to learn every step of the process so that I am an equipped business owner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that is very important to me. So the first thing I had to do was find a small family-owned distillery that allowed me to produce a small batch. Because when you see a lot of brands that say small batch right now and they're mass producing, they're not small batches. So I knew that I didn't have the capital to mass produce, and I knew I just wanted it for the gummy bears, right?
Because you funded this solely on your own.
Yep,
your own good government job.
Good government job.
Yeah.
So when I found my distillery, they were like, no, we can't mass produce. We're too small. So I was like, perfect. I went back home and I pulled out every dime of my retirement.
Wow.
I pulled out every dime of my federal government retirement, and I invested into my first 1,500 bottles of Blanco. That included buying the liquid, the bottles, the tops, the labels, the boxes. Now let's talk about doing everything from the ground up and learning. I am the importer, I own the liquid, and I am the sole distributor.
Come on. Come on, Black woman.
So when you look at the back of that bottle, it says exclusively imported by T. Capri Spirits. I have my warehouse. I have my wholesaler's license.
Yeah.
I have my liquor license from the Certified Regulatory of Tequila and the MP, which is the Mexican government.
She said, if you want receipts, baby, please check them. I got them.
And I have my award T diploma from the Certified Regulatory of Tequila.
And I got a whole certification for all you Black people out here who ain't gonna believe none of it's certified. She got a certificate.
All the things. And all by myself.
Wow.
And my distillery even said, because they've been around for a very long time, but they are very small batch. They said, we've never seen anyone do this by themselves.
I mean, you've got to feel like you're beaming, though, even when you tell the story. It's like your whole face like lit up when you start telling the story. Because when we look at this industry, it's very male-dominated.
Yes.
You do not see, I mean, even when we look at the distillery world, the world of distillery, whether it's light or dark, we are not at the forefront of these conversations. Absolutely. We're not seated at many of these tables.
Absolutely.
Even when we look at celebrity brands, those are typically distribution deals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for you to be carrying the torch in this way is really very powerful. Yeah.
It's still, I'm still taking it in, honestly, Brandi, because it's so hard, you know. I still work my government job. I'm still, the head of this company. And my company is an all-woman run LGBT-friendly company. And it's only 3 of us.
Wow.
It's 3 of us. 3 women that's running this company.
Whoa.
And we have done so much work with so little. And this is a capital-intensive industry, which you could have bought me for a penny. Let's go back there. I put God in a box, right? I was like, okay, God, I just need this for these gummy bears.
I just trying to make me some boozy bears.
That's it. And the world was like, yeah, no, that's not happening. And the tequila was so good. And it was also important to me because my boozy bears were, additive free and, didn't have any preservatives and stuff in them. It was important to me to also change people's perception of what tequila was. So when I found my distillery and they had such a quality liquid, so it was additive free, kosher certified. It was made from 100% blue Weber agave, fruit pectins, and the well water from the volcanic well water on their estate. estate. They have the well waters on their estate. So they're literally one of the very few distilleries that single sources everything.
Wow.
And it was so good. And then I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put these in boozy beers because the tequila is so good. So I was like, okay, well maybe it would just be like boutique tequila or online tequila. And mind you, I launched in the pandemic where we couldn't sit right here and talk to each other. We couldn't do tastings. We couldn't go in liquor stores and do tastings. I literally, because I had my wholesaler's license, I literally was knocking on doors like, hey, you know, I started a tequila line. Would you like to taste it? With my mask on, would you like to try it? 2 liquor stores in my neighborhood was like, sure, we'll give it a chance. I was like, okay, great. You know, me still not knowing anything about this industry, going into liquor stores, selling it. I just know I have a product and I want to sell it. I know how much I want it to be on the shelf because it's an ultra premium liquid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one of my good friends, Sean Yancey, she's an anchor at News NBC4. I did a lot of her events for her nonprofit organization was called Girls Night Out. And I had my baking goods. And so she says, Tiff, let me do some research and let me write your story. Let me run it past my people. Let me write your story. So she did everything from the car accident to the boozy bears to the baked goods to the tequila. And she calls me and she says, ma'am, I just need you to know that you just made history.
Wow.
You're the first black woman. You're the first black woman in the world to solely own a tequila brand.
Wow.
And when she launched that story on NBC4, Brandi, it grew legs of its own. Like, it grew legs of its own. So, mind you, I had my truck. Got my warehouse because I'm off of my good government job every Monday. So I would use that my Mondays to do distribution. And I would load the truck up, tore my truck up. Oh, I tore the truck up. I was throwing boxes and throwing crates and stuff in there. And I'm delivering with masks on. You know, we had to wear masks. We in a pandemic. Yeah. And I'm delivering to a liquor store one day, and I see this guy come out with 2 cases on his shoulder. And I rolled the window down, got a mask on. I said, really? That's what you doing? He was like, yeah, I drove all the way up here from North Carolina. This is the first black woman to own a tequila brand, and it's good.
And he didn't even know he was talking to you.
I pulled my mask down. He was like, it's you. It's you. And I said, yeah, I'm coming to make some deliveries.
Oh, my God. Come on, Master P. She said, I'm a no-limit soldier. I got him in my trunk. Listen. Wow.
Doing all the deliveries myself. And then it literally took off. But we're talking about only 1,500 bottles, which equated to like 3 pallets. That's not a lot when now it's such a boom for it. And I'm only in 2 or 3 stores. And now the stores are bum rushing me. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I only have Blanco.
Yeah.
Like, I only have a little bit of tequila. So I had to tell a lot of people no. I had to be very strategic in where I put the tequila in stores, but people were driving from New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, Detroit. Me and my operations manager did an event in Detroit, and this guy comes up to me and he shows me a picture. He said, when you first launched, I drove from Detroit to your store in Maryland to get your tequila.
Wow.
And I'm just bawling. I'm like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah. That's got to make you feel so good because for something that started really as like, I just need a little bit.
I just need a little bit.
God's like, I got a lot of it.
Yeah, he's like, nah, bigger.
Yeah.
This not it.
Yeah.
And to this day, Brandi, I'm like, okay, Lord, so you put me in this situation now? And this is, like we said, it's a male-dominated industry. It's a capital-intensive industry. And I see why the big brands are successful because in my mind, you can look at me and you don't drink anymore, but I have tough skin. So I want your staff to tell me how they feel about it because I think I produce a phenomenal liquid. These big companies can look at me and be like, that's cute. It might taste good. You might have done it by yourself, but we got the marketing budget.
Yeah.
We got the money.
Hundreds of millions.
We got hundreds of millions of dollars that you can't even come close to. So it is still very hard to be in this industry and not get frustrated. Like when I hear you talk and read my story, because I don't even watch my interviews or anything, I just keep it going. But I well up because sometimes I do have to stop myself and be like, look at what you did by yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm so acclimated to doing things by myself, like getting my degrees and building my home and taking care of my daughter. This is all survival mode. Like, this is what I've done to survive. So after the car accident, it was like, okay, keep your brain functioning, keep your brain moving, do things that's going to occupy your time and go against what the neurologist said, because I even left my first neurologist and went to John Hopkins because I was like, this man trying to kill me. He wants me to think that my life is over, and my life is not over because I have a daughter to raise.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would not let him tell me, like, you're going to be on all this medicine for all your life. Oh, you have to wear a wristband because you have epilepsy. Oh, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. And it was hard because after you have a seizure, you can't drive for a very long time. So me being so independent all my life and having to call my neighbors, or it was all my neighbors and just my friends because I'm not close with my family, to have them take me to the grocery store, take my daughter to school, like depending on people, the smallest things that you used to jumping in the car, going to the store, going to get. I couldn't do that because I didn't want to put anybody else's life in danger. If I had a seizure driving, I could have killed myself and somebody else. So I wasn't going to do that. So I had to depend on other people.
Yeah.
So now where I am at this stage in my career as an entrepreneur, I'm like, okay, Lord, you said that I won't give it to you unless I give it to you.
Yeah.
So now you got to give it to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I want you to dive into this moment because you said just now that it was survival mode.
Yeah.
And so now that you've kind of jumped over one hurdle in your life, how are you coming out of survival mode in this season of your life? What are you doing to create some moments where you don't feel like I'm just surviving?
Wow. That's very interesting because as I turned 49 and I said, Lord, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. One of my girlfriends was like, who have you been around saying, Lord willing, the creek don't rise? My grandparents,
your
right?
Grandmother, yeah, for sure.
If I turn 50, what is this going to do for me? Because I'm still super stressed out. And when I'm stressed out, my seizure symptoms, they come out of my skin now. Like, I thought I had lupus. So I went to my doctor. He's been my doctor for over 20 years. And I was like, I think I have lupus. And he was like, Tiff, stay off WebMD. Like, why do you think I'm a WebMD fanatic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, because my skin is very sensitive to the touch. My hands, my back, my feet. And he said, well, what's happening before that? Are you under stress? I was like, I still work for the federal government. I might lose my job. These people might make us retire. I'm about to deal with tariffs. Of course, I'm under a tremendous amount of stress, doctor.
Yeah.
And he said, I know you don't want to hear this. And he said, what else is happening? And I said, I'm having my migraines, but that's normal. And he said, okay, I want you to go back and see your neurologist. And I go back to see the neurologist. I said, my doctor already ran all the tests. I think it's, lupus or whatever, but he wants me to see you. And so she runs some more tests, and, she says, yeah, no, these are seizures. She said, this is another way seizures can come out. They come out through your skin.
Wow.
She could have bought me for a penny. She's like, I know you are such in denial and you are such a fighter for this seizure. Like, and I was like, these are not seizures. You can't tell me I'm having seizures. She was like, yeah, you're having migraines, and it's like a perfect storm. Your migraines are competing with your seizures, and then it's exuding through your skin. So, like, if you burn yourself and you put on clothes and it hurts, that's how it feels. Like, you can't even touch me.
Whoa.
So when I realized that, and I started thinking about, my life and, what's next and how am I going to handle things, I did the same thing I did when I went to Mexico the third time. Because by the third time I went to Mexico by myself, Brandi, it was wild. It was wild. And I said, I'm going to write a book. But literally, the guy that was supposed to come pick me up to take me around, I was coming out of the airport. I was coming out of the airport. He was coming in the airport. He quit. He left me. And he put me in an Uber, non-English speaking.
So you get there, he's supposed to be your driver.
Yeah.
He quits in the mid, like before you even get in the car, he done quit.
He done quit the agency we were working for, and he was getting on a plane to leave.
Oh my God.
I was getting out of the airport. He was coming in the airport, getting on the plane. So he puts me with this guy. He's like, he'll get you to where you want to get to. And I said, God, third trip. I said, if I'm supposed to be doing this, you will open doors. If I'm not, you can close them. And I'll accept that because I've done what a lot of people haven't done.
Mm.
If I'm not supposed to be doing this, let me get home safely, and I accept it. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I said the same thing. I said, God, if I'm not supposed to be doing this, I accept it. But if this is what you're supposed to have for me to do and talk to people about my journey and talk to people about my life, I'll accept it because you'll keep opening doors for me. And my spirit will calm down. My body will calm down. I will stop being sick. But I'm listening to you right now because right now, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
That's so good, though. Like, if this is for me, you'll open doors.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a prayer that so many people can take with them
Mm-hmm.
on these journeys because, right, you have the mountains, but you have the valleys.
Oh.
It's the peaks, right? It's the highs and the lows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then if you are able to remind yourself that, God, if this is your will,
Mm-hmm.
if this is what you would have for me, you will open up doors.
Yep.
I won't have to wonder.
Nope.
But there are people out here who keep running to these closed doors, banging on the door, saying, I know you in there, let me in. And you're like, if it's yours, the door is going to open.
Yeah, because you know what? I use the analogy of MapQuest. And is it MapQuest or Waze? I'm about 49 years old, y'all.
You just aged us. MapQuest was when we was back in the day, Tiff. Okay, that was the first one. That was the one you printed out. You had to print it out. Baby, that's how I moved to LA.
Listen,
that's how I moved to LA.
You know I'm showing my age.
Listen, I'm right here with you. You are not alone. I am here with you.
I use the analogy of Waze.
Yeah,
right?
Waze. Here we go. We current now,
No,
y'all.
we current.
We came up to the 2025.
We did.
Yeah.
So it's like Waze. If you run into traffic or accident, Waze is going to reroute you and still get you to the destination you're supposed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
I use my life as Waze. If I am not supposed to be there, I'm not going to get there. If there are alternate routes, God is going to take me through these alternate routes like he's been doing since I went to and I will keep saying, since I went to Jalisco, Mexico by myself, he's gotten me unscathed to where I was supposed to go. Now, I am going through trials and tribulations. I'm dealing with things in the spirit industry I never thought I would be able to deal with in my life, but I'm built for this, clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly, I've been built for it tough because that accident was the third thing that almost took me out. I had 3 major things that happened to me in my life, and when that accident happened, I said, okay, God, something is supposed to happen that you want me here for, but the enemy doesn't. So what do you want me here for? And clearly, it was for me to make history, to show little girls like me that you can do something by yourself.
Yeah. With a whole lot of faith.
With a whole
lot of perseverance.
Whole lot of faith and perseverance.
And the willingness, I think, too, the biggest thing is like the willingness to start from the bottom.
Yes.
The willingness to learn.
Yes.
And I think for young people who are watching this, you have to have the willingness to learn something new and say you don't know everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Wrong one.
Wrong room. I am like a sponge. I absorb knowledge. Like when I went to Jalisco the last time, I met with the owner of Fortaleza, phenomenal tequila. And you don't find that tequila everywhere. He closed his distillery for me and sat down with me all day and talked to me. And he gave me so many nuggets just about life and lessons and entrepreneurship. And I was just like, learning from the ground up and knowing was very profound for me and others in the industry to respect me and to know that I was serious about this.
Yeah.
So when you have people that you can go to that you know that they started from the ground up and you know it's been in their family for generations and know they're still working it, and you see that and you know that like this is how it's supposed to be, as opposed to people on social media that want things microwave.
Yeah.
They want the instant gratification and they don't want to put in the hard work, and it's literally blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
And just to get that from him to understand, like, this has been his family for generations. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm still doing. You're on the right path. You're doing the right thing. And I try to be so transparent on social media now because I don't want people to think that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I don't have a mother, father, husband, nobody to fall back on. If I fall, Brandi, I fall.
Yeah. And I think that that's so many of our stories, right? There's so many of us who are watching who are like, if I fall, I fall, you know, and it's going to be on me. What is the thing that's anchoring you, though, in this season so that you don't fall?
I just want to live my life, you know? I want to experience life. I want to be happy. I want to live the rest of my life and the best of my life. And I don't want anything that's going to hold me back or stress me out. I think I've made so many accomplishments. And what holds me down is to know that I made history. My footprints are left on this earth. If nothing else happens with this tequila, like I told my staff, I said, we got a warehouse full of tequila we can drink. Because guess what? I own everything. I don't owe anybody anything.
Come on.
I don't owe anybody anything. I don't have investors down my back. I don't have bank loans down my back. I don't have, if this wins, fails, whatever it does, I can walk away from this peacefully and still live my life, retire from my government job and say, I've made major accomplishments in my life. I've showed my daughter major things in life. I've showed my staff major things in life. I can walk away and be at peace, and I need peace.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I mean, one piece of advice, though, you would give to any woman that is looking to get in the spirits, the wine or spirits industry, what's the first piece of advice you would give them?
Never take no for an answer. Never take no for an answer. I was told no so many times going to Jalisco.
They probably had their no ready. As soon as they saw you no.
They had their nose ready.
Yeah.
They told me what I couldn't do. You would never be able to do this by yourself. You can't do it. But it only takes one yes to catapult you into your destiny. You might hear a billion no's, but this world is huge.
Yeah.
But you have to have the dedication, perseverance. You have to be able to keep knocking on doors and knowing that all the doors are not going to open. But again, praying, God, if it's meant for it to happen, that door is going to open up for me.
Yeah.
So you can't say, oh, well, 100 people told me no, so this is not meant for me. Okay, those are people. There's a lot of people out here. That wasn't a physical obstacle that stopped you. That was a person.
Yeah.
A person. I don't listen to what everybody says. And I will always tell them to be educated. You know, educate yourself on whatever you're doing in the spirit industry. If it's wine or bourbon or vodka or tequila, know it from the ground up. No, be smart.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. The more you know, but it only takes one yes.
Yeah. I love that, the power piece, because Terry Vaughn was here, and when she came on, she said, you know, after she left the Steve Harvey show, she said, you know, I thought I was going to get my own show. Like, I was just like, I always knew I was going to get my own show. She said it took 20 years, but she got her show. And when we talk about that level of faith, that level of belief, that level of I'm going to hear a million no's, but she said Tyler Perry's yes. Tyler Perry's yes opened up so many doors for her. And I think that just speaks to your point. It's like there are people who are not going to believe in you. They're not going to believe in the vision that God has given you. But as long as you believe and you keep working at it, that small voice is going to is gonna push you. It's going to propel you.
Faith as small as a mustard seed.
Yeah.
As small as a mustard seed, but you have to have that dedication and know, like, you know, I knew that my life had purpose. I just didn't know what the purpose was. But I knew it was something that I was supposed to be doing. And I would always pray to God, like, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be doing?
Most people are praying that prayer, Tiffany.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Like, I had seizures, traumatic brain injury, tequila, and Honestly, after, I was having seizures and in and out of the hospital, and because I weaned myself off the medication. They had me on so much medication. I was like, this medicine is making me sicker. Let me
Wow.
stop. And when I first took a drink, I drank wine. I got an instant headache. And I was like, okay, I can't drink. And I said, well, let me try a tequila because I love tequila. And it didn't give me a headache. And that's when I really started researching the additive free, kosher certified, the way it was made and everything. And my tequila is, anybody that drinks my tequila, like, I don't have a hangover. I'm not sick. It makes me feel
Yeah, because
amazing.
no additives.
No
Yeah. So
additives.
when I was drinking, I liked tequila, and
Mm-hmm.
I typically drank tequila that was additive
Mm-hmm.
free.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you don't have the hangover, you
No.
don't have the, the
The,
feeling
the
afterwards.
sickness, all of
Yeah.
that. Like, because we're
Yeah.
not in college anymore. We don't want to wake up feeling like,
Listen,
Lord.
um, listen, I'm down bad, Tiff. I'm in my bathrobe. I can't do it. I'm Alka-Seltzer tablets as soon as I wake up.
Can't do
2
nothing.
ibuprofen and Alka-Seltzer
Listen,
tablets.
we
Listen.
are not. I call us. We're cocktail snobs now. I'm a
Yeah.
cocktail snob. Give me a good cocktail and
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And I know that's what my tequila is. So I am very proud of it. I have one physical daughter, but these are my kids.
I mean, y'all, she's over here looking at these bottles like she is in admiration. It is like she's just like, it's like that moment. But that is how you should feel about something that you have birthed.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
That is how you should feel.
It is. And then let's go back to you talking about like things that takes a long time and years. And I always use the analogy too of an elephant. I'm not a Delta, but I love elephants. I collect elephants. And I started researching and going back to Jalisco. It's 2017, 2018. I signed a contract with my distillery in 2019, but because of the pandemic, my tequila didn't get over into the United States until 21. It didn't land on U.S. soil until 21. And I always tell people, they're like, oh, things take a long time. And I said, an elephant is pregnant for 24 months. 24 months, 2 years, almost 2 years, an elephant is pregnant. And when they birth that baby, the earth shakes, cars stop, people look. It's noticeable. It's not like she was pregnant, a puppy, and was pregnant for a couple of weeks and had a litter of puppies and they're gone. That baby elephant weighs about 200 pounds, and people take notice. Dealing with my tequila and the whole process took me almost 2 years, and I made history. The earth moved.
Yeah.
So when things take a long time, to me it's God getting things out the way and making people recognize and realize and putting you in positions sometimes when it takes a long time. So don't give up on when it takes a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I received that even in my own journey, Tiffany. Listen, I received that. So, what are you learning in this season? Because I have to imagine that this cannot be your only stop. There's some other things that you are thinking about, dreaming about, that you're envisioning. What's that one thing that you're like, I feel like that might be my next chapter?
Well, in the spirit industry, if I continue to go in the spirit industry, I want to start a mezcal.
Nice.
Tequila's made in the regions of Jalisco, Mexico. Mezcals are made in the regions of Oaxaca. So it's a whole different region, and I want to study Oaxaca. It took me a long time to like mezcal, but I actually love it.
Because it's such a smokiness. It's very rare that I've found mezcals that I've liked along the way. But that smokiness is like, it leaves a lot to be desired for me.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
It's an acquired taste, and
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Now, if I stay in that industry, that's where I want to go. I also believe, Brandi, you probably wouldn't even believe this, but I was not a speaker, and I wouldn't tell my story. And Sean Yancey told me, the first anchor that did my story, because I wouldn't tell my whole story. And she says, you're going to have to tell your whole story. You're going to have to speak to audiences. You're going to have to speak to people. You're going to have to tell your whole story. And I wasn't ready to do that because I was still dealing with traumatic brain injury and just still trying to suppress that. I do believe that that's what I'm supposed to do. I do believe that I am supposed to do speaking engagements and that I am supposed to talk to people about my journey. And I always say it's from tragedy to triumph. It literally is. Like, I wasn't supposed to be here, but I am here. So I do want to continue to make my story known. I was also featured in Because of Them Weekend, and that was a very significant article for me because that week someone sent me an inbox message, and I, mind you, I'm still doing my deliveries. I'm delivering to a liquor store, and a lady inboxed me on Instagram, and she says, I was on my way to take my daughter to the dentist, and I saw you delivering, getting your boxes because they got Tea Capri all over them, out your truck, and I stopped and showed my daughter and told my daughter who you were, and that hit me hard. I was like, oh, I am not a crier. I'm not a crier. I'm tough. I am tough. But that hit me hard for that mother to tell me that she told her daughter that I made history and I'm working in a male-dominated industry, and look at her making the deliveries on her own, and she made history. Like, that hit me hard. So I know that there's so much more that I have to give as far as my communication and speaking to the world.
I mean, children become what they see, right? And so they have to see women who are breaking barriers, who are like knowing that there is no glass on that ceiling, that the sky really is the limit. They need to be able to see that, right? And then when we think about Black culture, right? As much as they want to rip our culture out of schools, out of colleges, out of spaces and places to show us that you weren't here, we have to remind our own community that we are powerful, that we were here, that we made a difference, that we left our mark on the world. And so it's so important for you to tell your story.
It is so important. And another article that I was mentioned in was...
Look at her, y'all. Y'all see she's dropping a receipt. She said, I got another one. Hold on. It was another article that I was in. Hold on.
Because this one was so profound for me, too. It was a U.S.-Mexico Foundation. And I was like, wow, And it basically was like, first Black woman to solely own a tequila brand. She journeyed to Jalisco, Mexico on her own. But it's unity. To me, that article was like unity. We're acknowledging that this, like, I went into their culture. You know what I'm saying? And I respect their culture. I respect it. I love it. There's so much beauty in their culture. I respect it. I'm not taking away like I'm not Mexican and Hispanic and that's what they do over there. That's what they love. They pride themselves on their agave. The agave plant is actually protected by UNESCO. So it's a protected plant. And they protect their plants. Like, it's beautiful. So for me to be acknowledged by this foundation saying, the things that I did as a Black woman, to come over to another culture and learn, not just slap my name on a bottle and not just give the distillery money to produce a liquid, but I learned. You have the footage and seeing me learning and staying over there. And that's one of the hardest things I've ever done was to, cultivate a agave piña, to humidor an agave piña. It's hard work. I have so much respect for the humidors and the tequila master because it is one of the hardest things to do. So it matters to me that we as Black women are showing the next generation what is so possible. So possible. Do not let anyone try to remove you out of the history books. One marketing agent told me it takes someone up to 7 times to see something and to remember it. Well, we have to work as Black people, as Black women, 7 times harder. We have to always work harder to be successful and to show them. I made history in 21, but I still have to show people, hey, I still exist. Hey, this tequila is still on the market. Hey, you survived. I survived the pandemic, where a lot of liquor companies tanked.
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, this story is so powerful. It is so moving. It is, but it's also very enlightening because I think oftentimes we look at brands and we just say, "Oh, they just slapped their name on it. It was like a white label situation." And you're giving us the intel and the insight to know that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
You put boots on the ground,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
This is what we talking about. We talk about boots on the ground, y'all. This is what we mean, not them damn fans. Okay? We talking about go put some boots on the ground and change your life.
Yes.
Put boots on the ground and change the trajectory of your family.
Absolutely.
You can make history when you really put boots on the ground.
You can make history and change the trajectory of your family.
Yeah, for sure.
That was very significant and very important to show my daughter, like, we've been on our own for a very long time, but to lead by example.
Yeah.
I had to lead by example. I had to show her, like, we made it. Like, we made it. Like, I went to school and got 1 college degree, 2 college degrees, 3 college degrees, just because I was trying to overly prove myself in the federal government that I'm worthy of getting these higher positions.
Wow.
I am worthy, but that was what they were saying. Like, oh, you don't have a degree. Oh, you don't have a degree.
Yeah.
So I literally been in school all my daughter's life, you know, going to school part-time and via audio cassette, videos, weekend. I mean, everywhere you can say, I took a class, I took a class, you know? So it was always to show her what is possible. Yes, I'm a single mom, which her dad was still very active in her life, but she lived with me. I was a single mom. But we went through a lot, you know, living on our own since I graduated from high school and working full-time in the federal government. Having a vehicle, everything, things was just, you know, it was a little rough. She sent me a video yesterday, and this song came out in 98. My daughter was born in 97. CeCe Winans. It was a CeCe Winans song, All Right. And I'm Brandi, when I tell you I am not a crier, I am not a crier.
You keep saying that, but we done already said, we done clocked 2 times you done cried. You keep saying, I'm not a crier. And we clocking the tears.
I am that girl where I'm like, no, I am in a male-dominated industry. You are not going to get that part of me. But I played that song on the way, taking her to daycare every morning. And for her at 28 years old to remember that, like, it was embedded in her. I played that song, All Right, CeCe Winans, every morning. And I'm like, this girl was really listening. So she was, as a baby, she was paying attention. She was, it resonated in her soul. It resonated in her spirit. Everything that her mom is doing is resonating in her. That meant a lot, because it's like, you never know when these kids are paying attention, but they are paying attention.
Yeah.
So they're watching how we move and why we're moving and the ultimate goal. And they didn't just get this. She didn't just get this. Like, I don't give my daughter anything. I don't give my staff anything. I make them work. My assistant, I tell her, she'll say, Miss Tiff, well, how do you do it? I said, you figure it out and let me know. She said, well, Miss Tiff, I'm asking you. She said, Miss Tiff, this is not when you were 15 years old in the federal government anymore. I said, it is.
Yeah.
I said, you'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
And now she can talk about my business like I can talk about my business.
Yeah.
Because I just wouldn't give it to her.
Yeah.
I made her research. I made her do all the things.
Yeah.
Because, like I tell my staff too, I said, we are a Black, woman-owned, minority-owned, LGBT-friendly company. We have no room for error. I said, I'm hard on y'all. I said, because every publication that we're in, everything that we do, they will find one thing wrong, and they will tear us to shreds. And I will not allow y'all to do that. Yeah. So I'm hard on y'all because we have very little room for error.
Yeah, absolutely. Very little room for error. As we begin to close out, one word you're committed to in this season of your life.
Wow. There are so many words. Gratification. And because that doesn't always look like things. Gratification is not always awards, and it's not always words words of encouragement and accolades. My gratification is my peace and the things that I know that I have done, and I can smile about it. And I have to be I have to have gratification because I know it was all God. And I was on an angel's wing in a prayer all my life. I can't take accountability for any of that. My gratification came from what God did for me. So I am grateful. I have gratification for all the big wins, the small wins, everything. Gratification is important to me.
Amen. You have been such a pleasure to sit down with. I am so honored. I am so proud to know you, to share space with you. Your perseverance, your grit, your determination is one for the books. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bought Empowers Talks, another good one for the books. Be sure to send this to someone who could up that level of gratification in their lives in this season. Until next time, I'm your girl, Brandi Harvey. Eat well, give a damn, move your body every single day. Peace.